welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm gonna be, well, you already know, I'm reviewing the iPhone app on iPhone 4 called iMaschine, and basically going to show you how to go from your iPhone into your DAW so that you can take your ideas and turn them into songs. So let's open the app. Boom, iMaschine. Alright, so in the first tutorial I showed you the basic functions. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper. If you haven't seen that yet, I suggest you stop this video, rewind, go watch the first one, then fast forward and come back. Alright, so boom, you got the iMaschine app here. I got a little loop already pre-recorded. To the mixer real quick. Mess around with the effects. I need to tweak that just a little bit. Okay, so let's get into the gist of the tutorial. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of things here. I'm going to be showing you how to record track by track. I'll be showing you how to mute tracks. I'll be showing you how to just basically track things out individually, and you'll get a little wave tutorial also. I'll be using Cubase, the basic Cubase SX. You'll need a you'll need an 1/8 inch adapter cable to whatever your mixer is. Okay, so 1/8 inch to RCA, 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch Ace, 1/8 inch to, I don't know, whatever. You'll go into your mixer, then you'll go from your mixer to your laptop. You may need some type of USB interface if your laptop doesn't already have a stereo input for your mixer. And that's basically it. So boom, let's get started. I like to start with my kick. First thing I want to do is show you guys Cubase real quick. This camera tripod is not the best, so that's not gonna flow too smoothly, but let me zoom in just a little bit. You're looking at Cubase. I have 24 tracks loaded. I won't be using 24 tracks, but it's nice to have the option to record as many tracks as you want, you know what I'm saying? So we got track number 1. You're gonna be getting a Cubase tutorial also. So yeah, we'll look at track number 1. We have track number 1 highlighted, right? Not track number 2. I like to name my tracks before I start recording. So that's caps lock K-I-C-K. We're going to name this kick just because I like to record my drums first, and you can resize these as you want. We're going to start from the beginning point. This is my transport bar. Okay, so we got the kick armed. I like to record stereo tracks. Cubase gives you the option whether you want to record a mono or stereo. So I got the mono track, the stereo track armed, right? On track number 1. Okay, so is there anything that I need to say at this point? I'm just going to be recording a loop, and this actual loop is for 4 measures, and it's at 80 BPM. So you definitely want to make sure your DAW, if you're using Cubase or Sonar or Pro Tools or whatever, make sure that your tempo is at 80 BPM. So let me make sure everything is selected here. Okay, and then I'll type in 80 because I don't want to go through all that rigmarole. Okay, so we're going to basically go back to iMaschine. Alright, my iPhone went off. Let me put my code in. I don't want y'all looking at my code. I have it all on the internet. Alright, so we're going to go back down. iPhone. Cool. So let me center this really quick. So in iMaschine, you have the mixer function where you can mute instruments, not record. So you can go to the mixer function, you can mute instruments. I'll mute everything else besides the kit on track 1, because that's the only one I'm going to be using. I won't be using either of these. Alright, that's covered in the first tutorial. Alright, so boom, I'm touching the tripod. Okay, so boom, you got your instruments here. What I'm going to be doing is going into the options here. This, I want to say drop down menu, it's actually a pop-up menu. I select mute. When I select mute, I get the dialog box here that says press pad to mute sequence. I'm going to mute every track except for the kick. Okay, so when I press play, the only thing that's going to play is that one kick. Now if I unhighlight these, I'll hear the other instruments, but I don't want to hear the other instruments. I want them to be muted. So boom. Once I have all of my tracks muted besides the kick, we can go to Cubase. Let's go back up. That's bogus. I need a better tripod. But yeah, that's what you get when you be thrift shopping. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so boom. We're looking at Cubase. I don't know why Cubase is playing. I think I pressed the space bar. But you're going to arm the track, and you may be thinking to yourself, how is this guy going to sync these instruments up if there's no MIDI sequence? Show you a little trick, tool of the trade. Before I get started, I just want to say we are syncing up this iPhone as a hardware instrument. I'm sorry, acoustic instrument. It's digital, although we're using it just like we're recording it just like you would record a guitar or drums or piano. It basically becomes a instrument that you are going to sync up. I mean, you just record it. I don't want to articulate it. It's really simple. But there are other ways, of course. You could export each individual 5-measure loop into iMaschine or onto SoundCloud and then download them and then put them in your DAW. But this is just a really quick way to be able to record a whole song without having to go through, you know, all that rigmarole. So track number 1 is highlighted. Make sure your track is armed. I don't care what program you're using, your track need to be armed to record before you start recording. Okay? It wouldn't hurt to solo it just so you don't pick up anything else. Alright, so you're going to record. It doesn't matter what point you start. Uh-oh, I got a dialogue. Recording could not be enabled. There's no input. Okay, give me a sec. And let me go into my function. It's telling me I can't record. Stop. Go back. Record. Okay, just a little minor setback. Sometimes your equipment doesn't do what you want it to do, and that's just part of being in a digital world. I'm using ISO for all. I was kind of skeptical of this program before I started using iMaschine, but one of the guys over there at the MPK Mini Facebook group put me up on it, and man, it's pretty dope. Only thing I don't like about it is that you can't sync it with more than one program. So if you're using it in Cubase, you can't open a separate program and use the same program, the ASIO for all application. It acts as a sound card, so it needs a little tweaking. Anyways, but it's pretty awesome if you're only gonna work with one program. Alright, so blah 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 blah. We have kick. It's a stereo track. I don't recommend recording everything in stereo. I like to record a lot of things in stereo because when I tweak it, I have more options. Depending on the instrument, some instruments sound better mono. Okay, so I'm not one of those cats that say record everything in stereo, record vocals in stereo, record clarinet in stereo. You know, some things sound better mono. Alright, so will record here. Make sure your loop function is not on. Okay, at some point I'm gonna have to log into my iPhone again and then press play. So you can see your kicks here. Let's measure 2. Let's measure 3. Let's measure 4. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop it because I have everything that I need as far as the kick goes in the 5 measure loop. Okay, so now you're gonna get a quick editing tutorial. Okay, so boom, I'm going to take this actual wave. Wait, let me select the select tool. I'm gonna highlight. Okay, come on, Cubase. Okay, I'm gonna highlight this particular wave that I just recorded, and I'm gonna resize it and drag it over. Okay, I'm also going to enlarge it so that I can see the exact point that it started, and then I'm going to drag the beginning point or truncate it so that the wave begins as soon as the kick hits. So basically this sample or 4 measure loop wave is truncated directly at the point that the kick drum hits or the wave starts. Okay, then I'm going to take that entire 4 measure loop or wave, and then I'm going to drag it to the beginning. Okay, so you can see that this wave in the 5th measure starts exactly where the 5 measure mark, well, roundabout where the 5 measure mark starts, so that when you get ready to sync all of your instruments up, they'll all be on time. Okay, so you have 5 measures of your kick, and what I recommend doing is taking all of your instruments and recording them in this way so that each instrument is synced and everything plays simultaneously exactly the way that you recorded them on iMaschine. Okay? Okay, so I'm gonna pause and then I'm gonna go to the snare. Okay, so I got my snare recorded. I'm about to work on the hi-hat. Before I do that, I'm gonna show you a little trick. Alright, got my snare recorded, I got it synced up, so basically it's what it sounds like. Boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, 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 ba-boom. Okay, so I'm gonna mute the kick real quick. Basically with the snares, if you're gonna be doing a lot of editing, which I'm pretty sure you will be, a cool way to chop down on having to chop this entire wave up through the whole song is to only use 1 snare, and then basically what you're going to do is truncate it so that you only have 1, right? Then you'll take the actual wave itself and drag it and copy it. That's one thing that's awesome about Windows, is copy and paste. You'll copy and paste that. You'll do that once, you'll do it twice, you'll do it 3 times, and I'm sorry, I didn't do that right. You'll do it 3 times, and so that will make the snare consistent throughout the loop, and it'll also cut down on headache later on. So instead of having 1 wave that you have to chop consistently, you can just delete a section instead of having to cut with the scissor tool, and that's really tedious and time consuming. So if I play this, it'll be consistent. Okay, so you got your kick and the snare. Let me work on the hi-hat. Okay, so I got the hi-hat recorded, and let me show you guys what that looks like. This is the hi-hat on track number 3. I actually spelled that wrong. Hi-hat. So that'll be the hi-hat. Alright, And it's really important when you get into the mixing stage that you have each track labeled, or you will be lost. I had to put my William Shatner on that, my Captain Kirk. Where is my snares? Alright, so track number 4 is going to be the synths. Real quick, I just want to recap how I recorded those samples separately. Clicked on mute, muted each instrument individually, just like an MPC, okay? So then boom, I'm gonna do the same thing now with the synth, except for I'm going to mute the first track with the mixer. I'm gonna highlight the synth, and then I'll select the synth, okay? We have the synth selected, and we're going to record the synth. So of course the synth is also 5 measures, and it'll be the only instrument playing. So we're gonna go back up to Cubase. Go back up to Cubase, and we're looking at the 4 measures here. Boom. I'm gonna have to edit that out. That sucks. Alright, so I'm going to name my track Synth, right? It's a pretty dope synth that I downloaded with the app. I bought a couple other kits with it, but this one is pretty dope. Alright, so why not? I'll hit record. Wait, let me make sure my instrument actually plays. Okay, good. So I'll make sure it's highlighted stereo track, because I do have effects on this track, so I want all of the effects to be captured. Alright, so I'll hit record here. Okay, there you go. We'll stop that on iMaschine. Go back to the beginning of the track, and then we'll truncate this, just like we did the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. No bass recorded on this song. I actually was in transit when I recorded this beat, or when I played it out, and so I really didn't have a need for bass. And then also with the iPhone headphones, they don't really pick up the bass like you really want it to. So I'm gonna probably play the bass later, add some bass later. So what I'm doing here is editing just like I did the kick. Wait a minute, no, I don't want to do that. I have effects on this, and so some of the effects were not captured at the beginning of this wave. I am going to sync it to go to the beginning, but I'm also going to let me resize Cubase. It's acting kind of silly on me right now. Don't embarrass me in front of company. Okay, so let me resize this really quick. Okay. So that is playing from the beginning. What I'm going to do is, just to show you guys the scissor tool on Cubase, select that. I'm going to chop it, delete this first half, drag the part with the effects on it here, so that when it loops, it will capture all of the effects. At the beginning, I'll probably drag it back so that the beginning of the song has no effects on the beginning of the loop. But in this particular area here, we'll just edit it that way so that everything's smooth. So what we have here is the entire beat sequence from iMaschine in Cubase, ready for editing. So if I play this sequence, it'll be everything that I recorded on iMaschine. if it wasn't edited. I'm sorry, I got my kick muted, which sounds good. Let me drop it like, Oh, one more thing, messed up. That's good. In Cubase, you have a loop function. So what we'll do is go back to the beginning of the sequence. Boom. We'll highlight 4 measures here. You guys are getting a real good Cubase tutorial here. And then also we're going to resize, or let me get my transport bar back up, F2, or you can do it here. So turn your loop function on. I'll drop the kick in the same way that I messed up earlier. So this is what you got. Let me drop sound like. Are you guys ready to track yet? Pretty sure you are. I'm going to show you one more little nugget that you're not going to learn in school. I didn't go to school to do this traditional, learn everything on my own. But you won't learn this in school. They'll teach you how to track everything out, but they won't show you shortcuts. Alright, I have a complete loop here, but what I want to do is track this out, make a complete song. So, how many tracks is this? This is only 4 tracks. Alright, so we got 4 tracks. We'll highlight all of our waves that we just recorded. We'll make our beat clicks or our quantize go to 1 full measure, so that when we drag a wave, it will land completely on the measure that we want it to land on, okay? Boom. So we're going to copy and paste this several times. So I'm going to copy. Oh, sorry. Let me go back one more time. We're going to copy and paste. And then when we get ready to do it again, we're going to make sure we select all. Now, I'm sure your mind is blown if you've never seen this before. If you have seen it before, it's all good. Basically, what I'm doing is taking this loop and making it into an entire song without having to track these instruments out real time, which is really time consuming and tedious. So what you're looking at is a continuous loop, and all a producer or beginner producer would have to do is go in here and edit. Okay, so if you're a producer, you already know what you're looking at. If you're a beginner, this is basically an entire song with no edits, no drops, no instruments taken in and out. And so once this is completely edited, you can select track number 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, make your vocal track, record your vocals here, mix it down. I'm not going into all that. So that's basically the whole tutorial, man. iMaschine to Cubase, tracking out your instruments, you know what I'm saying, taking the beats to the next level. Mobile production is what it is. Alright, so if you are watching this and you like what you see, you can follow me. You can Google Bruh Love Music, Google Bruh Love. You can follow me on Twitter, MySpace, Facebook, all the major networks. Most importantly, I want to plug my blog. It's bruhlovemusic.blogspot.com, or you can Google Bruh Love Music Production Journal, and every now and then I put, you know, articles in there where I, you know, decide, you know, I want to write something nice or destroy some product and say that it's whack. But yeah, it would be cool if y'all would add me on, follow me, you know what I'm saying, friend me and all that good stuff, because I do make a little change off of these videos. So yeah, holla at your boy, and I'll see y'all later. Yep.
Rest in peace, Old Dirty. I'm your biggest fan and I miss you. Y'all know who it is. Yeah. What up, BL? What up, BL? What up, BL? Yeah. Yeah. Lay back like a perm on a black chick. Sprung love, spitting truth, never whackness. When I was 8, doing backflips on the mattress, you couldn't tell me one day that I would have this life. I ain't 50, I ain't puffy, but my fan base is faithful and all of them love me. So I do it till I do it till I die. Spitting bars for the Lord, yo, that's how I get high.
Brother.